Hi, I'm Robin.
And I'm Chris. Together we're the Gen X couple.
Hey guys.
Take one. Hello, everyone.
Today we have another exciting mystery for you guys. But first, Chris has an update for you guys about last week's episode.
So if you remember, we talked about Geraldo Rivera, and when he revealed nothing. So what it was...
So he opened a tomb that was empty.
Right. So what it was a vault. And it was supposed to be a vault of Al Capone's.
That was it, yeah.
And it was supposed to be filled with money, treasures, diamonds, and it was supposed to be underneath this hotel in Chicago. But when he opened it in 1986, it was empty.
Oh. Did they ever find Al Capone's treasure?
Nope.
After that? Did he actually have treasure, or was it just a myth?
I don't know.
I wonder.
We did see his cell in Eastern Penitentiary.
I don't know what you just said, but yeah, we did see his cell in Eastern State Penitentiary, which I think we talked about. Did we talk about this around Halloween time, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
It was the lap of luxury as far as prison cells go. He had a nice couch. Did he have a TV? I can't remember.
No TV.
Was there TV back then? What year was this? I don't think so. I think he was before TV, but...
He had carpet.
He had carpeting. I think there was a radio. There was a radio, He had a very nice cell. Actually, yeah, I think I did post a picture on our Instagram, which I'm a total slacker about. I really will try to be better this year. I'd say I should make that one of my resolutions, but I don't make New Year's resolutions because I don't stick to them. But anyway, today's January 3rd. Remember I told you that we were recording this in advance, so you guys won't hear it until the end of January, or third week of January, but it's actually only January 3rd for us. Anyway, we've got another exciting mystery, and I think I had seen this maybe on Unsolved Mysteries or The Unexplained or one of those shows, and I've always been fascinated by it. So today we're going to talk about the Lake Michigan Triangle. And you guys know that Lake Michigan is one of the Great Lakes. What are you doing over there?
Nothing.
Are you trying to take a tag out of your sweater? I can cut that out for you after. Anyway, Lake Michigan, it's one of the Great Lakes. It's enormous, if you don't know. It stretches over 22,000 square miles. It's deep and it's dark and it's got waters that hide everything from shipwrecks to centuries of history. I've only seen pictures, but it's stunning in the daytime in the pictures. But there is another side to Lake Michigan. There's a mysterious, eerie side. Locals and sailors have been whispering for decades about the so-called Lake Michigan Triangle, a place where people vanish, boats disappear, pilots go missing, and strange phenomena seem to happen over and over again, always roughly in the same area.
Yeah, when most people hear triangle in a mysterious context, they immediately think of the Bermuda Triangle. But Lake Michigan has its own version, and the stories are just as chilling. And the most incredible case associated with this area is the story of Steve Kubacek.
I don't even know where... I should know better. I seriously should know better than to put this stuff in your notes section. It's Stephen Kubacki.
A college student who vanished on the frozen lake in 1978 and reappeared 15 months later over 700 miles away with no memory of what happened to him.
Don't worry, we're going to tell you the whole story.
That one story alone has fascinated investigators, paranormal enthusiasts, and locals for decades.
I wonder if I should keep correcting your words. I do it so that the people listening know what we're actually trying to say. Sometimes I wonder, I have him proofread my books when I'm done, and should I be trusting you to proofread my books? Now I'm questioning whether I should do that, because you're not reading them in the right context a lot of times. Did you get your tag?
Yeah.
Okay. That looked like a good pull, so. Anyway, so what exactly is the Lake Michigan Triangle? It isn't officially mapped, although, I'm going to pause for a second. We live on the outskirts of the Bridgewater Triangle, which also was mapped, but it's expanded. These things have a tendency to expand beyond the traditional triangle shape.
Why is it triangles? Why not trapezoids or parallelograms? Or
That's a great question. I would love it if it was called the Bridgewater parallelogram or the Michigan parallelogram. Yeah, I don't know why it's a triangle. I think it starts at one point and like they can pin it to 3 points versus 4 points. But anyway, so the Michigan Triangle hasn't been officially mapped, but most researchers agree that it covers the region roughly between Chicago, Milwaukee, and Benton Harbor. It's an area that's notorious for strange occurrences, sudden storms, equipment malfunctions, compasses spinning erratically, radio communications dropping out, and dense fogs appearing without warning.
What's interesting is that these incidents aren't spread evenly across the lake. They cluster in this triangular region.
Oh, so I had already answered our triangle question, and I didn't even remember because I wrote this like months ago.
Anyway. Boats were vanishing, aircraft are lost mid-flight, and people disappear without a trace. While skeptics chalked a lot of it up to the weather or human error, the consistency and pattern of these incidences are difficult to ignore.
Reports of strange events on Lake Michigan go back at least a century, long before the quote-unquote triangle label became common. In the early 20th century, newspapers covered mysterious ship disappearances, small boats during calm days, and fishermen who never returned from routine trips. Many of these incidents occurred during inexplicable weather anomalies, which were sudden storms or dense fogs that appeared out of nowhere, even on days that had been sunny and calm before that.
And the lake has always been a major trade route, and thousands rely on it for work and survival. But the Triangle area seemed to have a higher than average number of disappearances. Stories circulated among sailors and local communities about sections of the lake that swallowed people whole. And some of these reports were exaggerated over time, but enough incidences were real that the legend grew steadily.
Yeah, so beyond Kubaki's disappearance, the Lake Michigan Triangle has a long list of strange events. Pilots report compasses spinning wildly mid-flight, which causes navigational errors. In one instance, a small plane was reported to fly off course and eventually vanish from radar, only to reappear hours later in an area it could not have reached under normal circumstances.
Boaters and fishermen often reported engines stalling, radios cutting out, and sudden electrical malfunctions. People describe fog so thick that visibility drops to zero within minutes. Some even claim to have seen ghostly lights hovering above the water, lights that don't resemble any aircraft or natural phenomenon.
And there are also unexplained objects. Sometimes boats are found adrift with no occupants. Life jackets, fishing gear, and supplies turn up from where they should be. Does that sound right? Did I put that right?
Yes.
Turn up from where they should be. Whatever. Waves and currents don't always explain the placement of these objects either. Some researchers speculate about underwater currents, whirlpools, or magnetic anomalies in the lake's bed that might interfere with navigation.
There are even reports of sudden drops in temperature, followed by thick, unnatural fogs, which some locals claim disorientates those on the lake.
Disorients.
These fogs appear suddenly and dissipate just as quickly, making navigation nearly impossible. Sailors describe feeling a strange pull or heaviness over the water, like the lake itself is resisting them.
But the most compelling story, of course, is that of Stephen Kubacki. In February of 1978, Kubacki, who was a 23-year-old student at Hope College in Holland, Michigan, went out on a solo cross-country skiing trip near Lake Michigan. He was experienced and he was familiar with the area, but he vanished without a trace. His skis, poles, backpack, and a set of footprints leading out to the frozen lake were found, but the tracks abruptly stopped at the water's edge. There was no broken ice, no struggle, no sign of where he had gone. Authorities initially assumed he had fallen through the ice and drowned, but no body was ever found.
And then comes this extraordinary part. 15 months later, on May 5th, 1979, Kubacki reappeared in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, more than 700 miles from where he disappeared. He was found in a field, unharmed and in reasonably good health, but with no memory of the entire missing period. He was wearing clothes that were not his and carrying items he didn't recognize. including a backpack containing maps and a Wisconsin marathon t-shirt. He later said he felt like he had been running a lot, but he could not explain where he had been or what had happened during that year in 3 months.
That feels like Forrest Gumpish to me.
It does.
How long did he run for? Didn't he run for like a year in that movie?
Yes.
Anyway, that case is still unexplained. There's no evidence of abduction, imprisonment, or survival in extreme conditions. Nothing accounts for the fact that he traveled hundreds of miles, didn't age noticeably, and had no memory of the time. His disappearance and return have become a central piece of evidence for those who study the Lake Michigan Triangle.
And
Kubacki?
Kubacki's story is extraordinary, but there are many other strange instances. In 1950, a small fishing boat vanished in calm waters near Milwaukee. The boat was discovered days later with no one on board. Personnel items were scattered across the lake's surface, but the crew was never found.
And then in the 1960s, multiple small aircraft pilots reported instrumentation failures over the triangle area. In one case, a pilot described his compass spinning erratically while his radio cut out entirely. He did eventually land safely, but radar records showed a path that could not have been flown under normal conditions.
And there are also reports from locals about unusual lights over the water at night. Some witnesses describe glowing orbs hovering near the lake's surface, moving in ways that defy conventional physics. Fishermen claim these lights can lead boats off course, sometimes into shallow waters or dangerous areas.
Other strange phenomena include sudden weather changes sudden changes in water temperature, unexplainable whirlpools, and strange animal behavior. Birds are sometimes seen flying in tight circles as if they're disturbed by something below the surface. Fish sometimes behave erratically near disappearing boats, and the consistency of these reports over the decades is remarkable.
So what could be behind these events? There are natural explanations like sudden storms, ice shifts, underwater currents, and magnetic anomalies. The lake is very deep and enormous, with unpredictable weather patterns and complex currents that can trap boats and disorient navigators.
Paranormal theories are also popular, of course. Some suggest time distortions or portals in the triangle, especially in cases like Kubacki's. Others speculate that electromagnetic anomalies or residual energy from historical events might be the cause. Of course, human error and misreporting also could play a role, but skeptics admit that the sheer number and consistency of incidents is hard and is difficult, and I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's difficult to explain. You're rubbing off on me.
And you have to take the psychological factor that may amplify the mystery. When people hear stories of disappearances or strange lights, it primes them to interpret ordinary events as paranormal. But even accounting for that, there are instances that define conventional explanation, particularly Kubacki's 15-month disappearance and return.
The Lake Michigan Triangle has become part of local folklore, appearing in books, documentaries, and paranormal investigations. I think, weren't they on Expedition X or one of those shows? They were over there in a lighthouse. Anyway, it's treated as a place where the normal rules of reality might not apply.
And Kubacki's story continues to be the most compelling piece of evidence that there's something unusual in this region. His unexplained disappearances challenges our understanding of the time, memory, and reality, and inspires continual investigation and speculates decades later.
The Lake Michigan Triangle reminds us that even in the modern world, some places retain mystery. The lake is beautiful and life-giving, but dangerous in ways we may never fully understand. Whether these events are coincidence, natural phenomena, or something beyond our comprehension, they leave a lasting mark on our imagination.
And maybe that's why we keep revisiting these stories, because we want to believe that there are places on Earth where mystery still exists.
Oh, there are.
Where reality bends just slightly and reminds us that the world is far bigger and stranger than we think.
Yeah, the ocean? What's under there? We're probably never going to know. That whole thing is a big mystery.
Why is it so wet?
That's the question. I don't even know how to respond to that. Anyway, moving on. The lake holds its secrets and stories like Kubacki's Wait, what? I don't know what I'm trying to say. The lake holds its secrets. And stories like Kubaki's disappearance ensure that the Lake Michigan Triangle will remain a legend for generations to come.
And perhaps in the end, that's the lake's greatest power, to remind us that some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved.
Very true. And guys, that is going to do it for today. We hope you liked hearing about this mystery. If you guys have anything else you want us to cover, let us know. You know where to find us.
And with that, we'll see you later, alligator.
And a wild crocodile.